So in the last class we have covered multi-process solution, or we can say Bakri algorithm, right? Okay. Till today, till last class, we have just studied critical solution for critical section problem using algorithmic solution, right? So which solutions? Algorithm 1, algorithm 2, Peterson algorithm, and multi-process solution, all are algorithmic solutions, right? So today we are going to start synchronization using hardware instructions. Synchronization using hardware instructions. Okay, today we will learn. Till now we just understood how algorithmically we can give solutions to the critical section problem, or and after from today we will learn about how we can use hardware instructions provided by operating system to give a solution for critical section problem. So at the hardware level, we can do locking. At the hardware level, for providing synchronization, we can use locks, hardware locks, but it is only feasible in case of uniprocessor environment, where we have only one CPU. So any process who wants to enter it to its critical section will enable this lock as true, which signify that the hardware or critical section is being used by any process right now. Okay, and if and nobody is executing its critical section, that means the value of lock will be false at that time. So only the value of lock will be true in case, only in the case when any process is using its critical section or is executing its critical section. That's why if any new process or any other process wants to enter its critical section, will need to check the lock before entering to the critical section. If the lock is true, that means it is not allowed, or that particular process is not allowed to enter to its critical section, right? So locking mechanism is useful only in uniprocessor environment. In uniprocessor environment it will give the effect, otherwise in case of multiprocessor environment it is not feasible. In case of multiprocessor environment, it is not feasible. Why? Because if if you are locking interrupts, means if you are locking interrupts, what it means, it will be time consuming. It will be time consuming because locking interrupts in case of uniprocessor environment is easy, because you have to lock only one time. But in case of multiprocessor environment, you need to, if you want to lock interrupt facility, then you need to pass this message to multiple processors, CPU1, CPU2, CPU3, which may be time consuming, and which directly leads to delays in the system. And which are these delays? These are message passing delays. Message passing delays, which we will pass at the time when we want to log interrupts. So we will pass messages among multiple processors available in the system. That's why these delay comes into the action, right? And if the delays are high, what it means, it directly leads to low efficiency, low efficiency in the system, and the performance of system will decrease. That's why it is not permissible, or it is not feasible to use locking interrupt technique in multiprocessor environment where we have n number of processors available in the system, right? So that's why what we can do, we can use some hardware. Operating system provides some hardware or low level instruction set low level instruction set to be used by developer to provide synchronization purpose, right? And what are these are there are we will understand only two. These special hardware level instructions are: one is test and set function, and other one we have swap function, right? So these two functions, or these two are the low level special type of low level hardware instruction set which a developer can use to provide a solution, process synchronization solution for the critical section problem. Now let us first understand these one after another. So what we will do, we will just check their code, what's in the code of these two functions, what they are doing really, right? So definition of test set is test and set, as the name suggests, that it is testing something and setting something, right? So it will take address of any variable, any boolean type variable, as a input, right? As a argument or as a input. And what will it will do, it will simply preserving value of that particular address and setting that address to true. Whether it is false or true, it will always set it to true, and return the current value, old value of that particular argument, right? So what the test and set will do, it will simply take the address of the target, and it will preserve the value, or it will assign this old value of that to new temporary variable, which is x here, right? And it will set. First it is testing the value and then setting the value. Here it is testing the value, whatever in the target is copied to the x, and next it in the second statement it will just assigning it true whether it is false or true. Because it is boolean, definitely there will be only two values, either it can be false or it can be true. So whatever the target is, either it is false or true, it will be assigned as true always, right? And after assigning the true, it will return the value x. That means what it is returning, it is returning the old value, whatever it was, right? So this is the definition of test and set function. Now in the same way, let us check definition of swap. As the name suggests, it is swapping values of two argument passed to it, right? So it is these two are very simple functions but very important functions, right? We will understand it. Let us so as you can see what it is doing, the swap function is taking address of the two variables we whose values we want to swap, right? And using a temporary variable, it is swapping value of a and b, or inputted variables, right? So these are the definitions, right? Now how we can provide solution from these instructions, let us understand first, right? By using test and set, let us understand how it is doing so. So we can use test and set at entry section. We can use test and set at test and set at entry location, entry section of the code of process, right? And there will be critical section. At the exit section, what it will do, it will simply set log false, then remainder section, then while. Okay, now understand it. So we can use this test and set function in entry section. So now understand it. Here log is, as we told, log is shared variable, shared, like, right? If it is true, that means it is enabled. No one can use it critical section until and unless it is not false, and if it is false, it is disabled. That means no one is executing its critical section, right? So initially, at the initial level, lock is always initialized to false. That means no one is executing its critical section currently in the system, right? Okay, now understand it. At this point in time, lock is false. Lock equals to false. Now if you are passing false here, then what will be the return value of test and set? Now understand, if the you pass false here, right, that means the value of lock, the value of lock is false, right? Then what it will do, you are what you are doing, you are passing address of lock, right? That means address target, that means target and lock both are addressing false, right? Now you are copying its value to x, means x, now x is false. Okay, now you are setting target equals to true, that means you are setting this false to true, right? And you are returning false, you are returning false, right? So what happened when you are uh, passing false to the test and set, what it will return, it will return simply false. And what again, and second step it will do, it will set lock to true. That means if test and set will get false as input, it will first return false as it is and set lock to true. In the same case, if you are passing true here, then what it will return, it will return true and set again lock to true. Then what it means, it simply means if at any time moment lock value is false, it simply means this process this process, let's say it is process pi, this process is allowed to enter allowed to enter its critical section. Okay, and what it is doing in case of this, what it is doing now, it can enter to its critical section, right? And as well as what it is doing, it is setting lock value to true. That means if any process pj wants to enter critical section, it will check the value for lock and it will use test and set for true for lock value, and it will get the true value. And if the true value is returned by test and set, what it means, this process pj process will be spin locked here until and unless it won't find lock value false. So any process who wants to enter its critical section will need the value of lock as a false until and unless it will not get the value of lock false, it will not gets into its critical section, right? And if it is getting the value of lock true, that means it will be spin locked here in the entry section. It will be spin locked here, right? So that's why this test and set function can be used to provide mutual exclusion here, right? Mutual exclusion is provided by using test and set, right? In the same way, if you check how we can use swap function, in the same way we can use swap function to provide mutual exclusion, right? Let us check. Mm. Now how we can use swap function, let us check. For swap function, using swap function, what we are doing, we are using two variable. One is global variable, which is lock, which is used by every processes in the system, and one boolean global variable, one boolean local variable for providing the solution, which is named as key. Key is the local variable of that particular process, right? Okay, now come to the code how we can use swap, right? So every process who wants to enter its critical section, at the entry section, what it will do first, it will first set its local variable true. That means it is declaring, or it is, why it is doing so, because it is showing that it want to execute its critical section, right? Okay, now what other thing it will do, it will check while key equals to true, it need to swap lock and key, right? So this is its critical entry section, right? This is really its entry section, and after that only it will enter its critical section. And after exiting critical section, what it will do, lock false, it will set lock equals to false and execute its remainder section. And while, as this, as we discussed earlier, when exiting its critical section, what that particular process need to do, it need to set lock false externally, right? So that the lock value will be set false, and this will break, or this will open this spin lock for other process, like in our case PJ, right? That means one after another they are giving chance to each other, right? So that's why progress is happening here, but bounded wait is not happening here, if if let's say P1 and P2, right? And it enter to its critical section first, that means it has to wait here, waiting for P2. And okay, let us discuss it later. First complete my swap one, right? Okay, so in the swap, how we are using swap for providing solution to the critical section problem, let us understand. Okay, now at this point, okay, now let us say P1 wants to enter in its critical section. So what it will do, it will set its local variable, local variable key as true, so that until and until it is getting key value true, what it will do, it will swap value of lock and key. Now here initially lock is false, because no one is we are assuming that no one is executing its critical section, right? So if at any time, if at this point in swap you are getting false and true, right, then what it means, what it will return, it will simply interchange these values, right? That means it will update the value of lock as true, and update the value of lock after this value of lock will be true and value of key will be false, and before that, before this timeline, lock was false and key was true. Simply, if swap will get lock value as false, that means it will swap these values, and once it will swap, the while loop will be breaked. While loop will be breaked here, that means key will be false, and key will be false means while loop will be breaked, and you jump to the critical section. This particular process will jump to the critical section, right? But in case, if you are getting lock value true here and your key value is already true, that means you will always get true, and until and unless you will not get key value false, you will not get out of it and enter to its critical section. That means to get into the critical section, a process need to get the value of lock will be value of log as false, and if the value of log is false, that directly means that no one is using its critical section, it is open to all, right? But what happens if you are getting log value true and key value, when you will get key value false? Either in two cases, either you have executed this once and you got your lock value false at that time. This was the one condition. What it means, that process wants to enter its critical section, that's why key value was for true, but and as well as he is getting lock value false, that means no one is executing its critical section. That means the process who wants to execute its critical section will get the critical section, right? But when you other case will be, you will get key value false, either you have executed this swap once, or you are not at all interested to execute its critical section, because if you are not you are not at all interested, that means you will not execute this instruction, right? So using swap at the entry section, we can provide mutual exclusion, right, as the case above, right? And after executing, see, if the process p1 has entered to its critical section, what it directly means, it directly means that other processes except p1, that means other waiting processes, let's say p2, p3, p4, when they will check value of lock, they will get true. And once if they will get true for log, that means they will spin logged here. That means they need to wait until and unless this p1 has not completed its critical section and came to execute this instruction. Once it exit p1 exit its critical section and execute this instruction, lock equals to false, this simply opens up gate for rest processes which are checking value of lock. That means it is now signifying that he has completed its critical section. Now anyone who wants to execute its critical section can or may use their critical section by using this common or global shared variable lock, right? And out of these waiting processes p2, p3, p4, who will get who will check the lock value first or swap the lock value with its key, he will get the next chance to enter its critical section. So both the solution, either you are using test and set or you are using swap variable, they both are providing mutual exclusion. Now this is the commonly used method how we can provide mutual exclusion and progress using test and set. Now understand, because this solution is not providing a, a correct solution for critical section problem, because it is providing mutual exclusion as well as progress but not bounded weight. Let us understand how we can modify test and set method, how we can use properly test and set method for providing a correct solution for critical section problem. Let us write the code here. So in this we will use two boolean variables, waiting and lock. Waiting for all processes, and both are initialized to false always, right? So let us check the code. Do at the entry section, what it will do, waiting I equals to true. That means process who wants to enter its critical section, it will assign waiting variable as true. That means that ith process wants to enter its critical section, right? Next, it will use its local variable key as true. It will set it true also. Next, in while in entry section, it will check while waiting I and key. What it will do, until and unless these conditions are true, what it will do, it will simply assign key with the output of test and set function over lock, right? And after this it will set its waiting to false. As we discussed in multiprocessor solution, it is simply signifying that it has updated or it has got its updated value of key, so it can use it, right? So this total is the entry section of the code. After that only that particular process will execute its critical section, and after executing its critical section, it will perform exit section, right? In exit section, what it will do, it will check and it will check for rest of the processes. While G plus G is not equals to G is not equals to I is not equals to I, and weighting of J is false, it will simply increment J as plus 1 modulo n. If J equals to I, lock is false. Else, if this is not the case, then weighting of J set to false. So this is the exit section of the code. Exit section of the code, and after that process will execute its remainder section. While one. So this is the code for solution for the critical section problem using test and set, right? So here the process will use its local boolean variable key and weighting and global variable lock, and it will check the value and update the value of key, and according to that it will get into its critical section. And after getting out of the critical section, what it will do, it will check, it will update the value for the rest of the processes, right? So you can understand it. Let us check. Let's say P1, let's say P1 is first entering to the critical section. So what it will do, it will simply update its waiting variable true. Okay, now it will set its key local key variable false, true. Okay, now until it is getting waiting and I and key value true, till then it will update the key as test and set using lock. And in our case, it will pi will get lock value false, and if it is getting lock value false, what it will return, it will simply return false to key. It will simply return false to key and set lock to true. Okay, that means at this point in time, it will key will be false and lock will be true. So once the lock is true, what it means that any other process, let's say P2, if it wants to enter its critical section, it cannot do that, because it will, when it will P2 will execute this statement test and set function, it will get true, it will get the true. And if it is getting true as a key and passing it to the key value is being true and waiting is already true, so it will be spin locked here. So other process other than P1 who will get the value of lock as true will be spin locked here. That means mutual exclusion is provided, right? Okay, so for P1, let us understand, for P1 it is getting lock value false. It means it is updating value key value as false, and once it updated key value false, in the next iteration, when it will check while condition waiting I and key, this loop will be breaked, because it will not get both the condition true, because it will get waiting true but key false this time. That means it will just come out of it and update its waiting to false. That means what it is signifying, it is signifying that uh, that in this small critical section, what it was doing, it was simply updating the value of its key, and it has now it is showing waiting by setting waiting I as false. It is setting waiting I as a false. It is setting, it is simply signifying that it has updated its value. Now it is entering its critical section. Now this time point in time, key value is false and lock value is true. That means these processes are blocked, and at this point in time waiting I or waiting 1 is false. Okay, now it has entered into the critical section. Now when it exits to the critical section, out of the critical section, what it will do, uh, it will check the rest processes, right? uh, Waiting processes. For waiting processes, what it is doing, it is updating the value of j as, let us say we have I currently 1. So j will be, at this point j will be 1 plus 1 modulo n. Okay, let's say n value is 5. So j will be 2. That means in the next in the exit section, it is checking for the next waiting process, right? If I is 1, then you will get j as 2. if i if I is 2, you will get j is 3, and until unless you will not get the maximum number of processes in the system, right, which are waiting for critical section. So at this point in time, you are just checking the next process in line who's waiting for the critical section, and in our case P2 is waiting for its critical section, right? Okay, uh, now in the while loop, what it will do, it will check is j equals to I, and waiting j is false. See carefully, check the condition carefully. What it is checking, j is not equals to I. Yes, j is not equals to I. That means this condition is true, right? And waiting j waiting j is not true, not true. See, not true. That means waiting j is false. But when you are checking j is 2, so then that means for P2, waiting j will be false once, and one and only once it will execute this statement, right? Until and unless it is spin locked here, it cannot do so. It cannot update its waiting to false. That means waiting j for P2 waiting will be true. And if it will be true, what it will do, that means it will update the value j as j plus 1 modulo n. That means here, if the process next process for the next process, if these two conditions are true, what it means, it will simply update the j as j plus 1 means 2 plus 1 means 3. So waiting j is not false. What it means? It simply means that it is not executing its critical section, because see, waiting j p2 for p2, waiting p2 will be true because it has set it true, right? And key is true, and it will get the key and test and value, test and set lock. So at this time, because p2 is getting true for the lock, that's why it is unable to break this spin lock. So definitely this waiting j will be true. And what we are doing, we are checking here waiting for false, waiting j for falseness, and we are not getting waiting j for falseness because this particular process is spin locked. Okay, you can see it is checking two conditions. J is not equals to I. Yes, j is not equals to I. 2 is not equals to I. And waiting 2 is not true, is not true. That means waiting 2 is false, and waiting 2 is false. You will get waiting 2 means waiting p2 false only when it is executing its critical section only. So that means someone is executing its critical section, has started its critical section, right? So it will increment j as, it will update j as 3. Got my point? So once executed its j as 3, now next it is doing, what it is doing, it is simply checking j is equals to I. If j is equals to I, if j is equals to I, see, for 3, let us say for 3, process 3 here, it will again check 3 is not equals to 3 is not equals to 1. Okay, so it is true, and 3 is for p3 is true, for p3 is true. Let us check p3 wants to enter its critical section or not. So waiting p3 will be false only if p3 has executed its entry section, but p3 don't want to enter its critical section. That means waiting 3 will be false. That means it will be updated with 4. Okay, and now for the 4 process, if it is, let us understand, it is 5 and 5, 6 at this point in time. Okay, no issue. After while loop, what it will do, it is simply incrementing the value of j. Okay, and until and unless these both conditions are true, that means it will get true, waiting ij will get true until, what it means, it means simply that this process, that means jth process is executing critical section. Okay, that means, okay. So what it means that if j is not equals to I, जब तक j I के बराबर नहीं है और जब तक वेटिंग j प्रोसेस फॉल्स है जब तक, तब तक ये इंक्रीमेंट करता रहे। ओके, और चेक करता रहे कि क्रिटिकल सेक्शन एग्जीक्यूट तो नहीं कर रहे, राइट। ओके, एंड if it is getting true, for waiting j it is getting true, that means once it will get true, this while loop will be breaked. Let us check. Okay, okay, so got got the point. If j is not equals to I, it is okay, no problem. But if that particular process p2 is waiting for the critical section, that means this waiting of that p2 will be true, will not be false, that means will be true, and this loop will be breaked and it will check for the condition j equals to I, either j क्या j I के बराबर है, g नहीं है, that means it will not perform this, then it will check else condition. If it is not so, so what it will do, waiting j will be set equals to false, waiting j will be set equals to false. That means waiting p2 will be set as false, which directly means p2 will break this while loop, and due to breaking of this while loop, it can enter to its critical section. Okay, so so in the code you can say that, after analyzing the code you can say mutual exclusion is provided, no issue, problem solved. But uh, how progress is doing, you can check, you can check that at the exit section what the process currently exiting process is doing. It is simply checking for the next waiting process in the line, right, by using j. And after after checking the next waiting process, it will either set lock value to false, or or waiting j value to false. And in both cases, this while loop will be breaked and the next waiting process will get into the critical section, right. And once it got the critical section, and after exiting critical section, it will do the same process, same task. It will check the next process in the waiting who want to enter into its critical section. It will check the next waiting process and check these conditions, and it will do these, it will perform these one of these two conditions, which will directly leads to enter the next which will directly allow to next process in waiting to allow to enter its critical section. So progress is happening here. So so if you can check by using this condition, bounded wait is also performing by using this and this. See, if there are 5 processes and only one after p2, after p1, p2 is not interested and p3 is interested, that means which are the processes in the waiting will get the turn by regular interval, because you are using modulo for updating the j, right. If the number of processes n, that means after every iteration, every waiting process will get the chance, right? Right, in the same way. So bounded weight is provided using modulo operator at the time of updation of value j in the exit section. So this solution is providing mutual exclusion, progress, and bounded with all three conditions. That's why we can say that this algorithm is a it can be a proper solution for critical section problem by using test and set function, right? In the same way, you can use swap function also. We will not discuss it here. In the practice session maybe we can discuss it, but because the time limitation we cannot discuss swap method here. Okay, so I think you got these points, how this is providing mutual exclusion, progress, and bounded weight. And these two are swap and test and set functions are the special type of functions, hardware instructions, which a developer can use for synchronization purpose. Okay guys, so I think this is clear to you now, and that's all for the today. Thank you guys.